What is this consciousness that many are looking for? Now, if we examine different traditions, Christianity naming God, Islam naming Allah, in the Indian spirituality or non-duality naming the self, in non-duality naming it as a non-duality, in the New Age naming it as consciousness. And all these names, they're actually pointing to something much more simpler. They're pointing to a simple awareness which is here. And that is your own awareness. Let's start with that. Yes, it's nobody's else. It's neither in the sky nor in another galaxy, nor somewhere in the divine realm. Your own awareness is right here, and it's very easily to be verifiable with the question, am I aware? And that is an obvious yes. So you are not separate from this awareness. And the mind is not separate from awareness. The mind only ignores awareness. There is nothing that can be ever separate from this awareness. But the mind ignores it. And the mind identifies with structures, with identity, fixation. Ego is basically fixation. It's a fixed position or a fixed identity. And when you argue, you know that there is a fixation. You're standing very firm in your fixed position. So everybody has a good sense of what is ego. So from this fixed position, the goal is to relax into awareness. Relaxing is one word, deconditioning is another word. Finding awareness or seeking for awareness or searching for awareness. Where is it? So in spirituality, it's very common to seek and search for awareness. Where is it? And then, we have devotion to awareness. But where is it? And what is it? However, of course, different paths, they help in different ways for different people. There's nothing wrong with that. And there are paths of purification. So there's a path of energetic purification. There is a path of inquiry, self-enquiry. There is a path of bhakti, devotion, and these are the paths of how to relax the structures. Yes, how to release and not hold anymore the structures. Different paths, different ways. But the goal is the same, really, to release and let go of the structures so that the present awareness, which is here, everybody can verify it, that you are aware right now, yes, simple, obvious. And how to relax and to let go of the structures that veil that pure, simple light of awareness. Even the word light is not fully correct because it's just here, lightless. Everybody can inquire for a second that awareness is, well, it's just here. I don't know how it looks like. Would you say it's green or yellow or white? No, you can't even put a color on it. And that's where imagination kind of stops, because how can you imagine something that you can't even put color on it? And yes, imagination cannot grasp it. So awareness is simply here, and it's transparent, for lack of a better word, or empty, for lack of a better word. Not a void, not a empty space. It's just here. So coming to the structures, first thing to know is that you are holding them. Let's assign responsibilities exactly where they should be. That you are holding the structures. The earth is not holding your mind, and the universe is, well, kind of supporting you and holding your mind through the law of attraction, since you don't know anything or something different. So it is you who is holding the structures. It is you who is holding on to the mind. And if you release the mind for a second, you will feel so light that you have nowhere to hang on to. And that's where the fear kicks in, some anxiety, some safety mechanism that I need to feel safe. I need to feel secure. I need to feel grounded. I need to feel stable. I need to know what's going on. I need to fully understand what is happening. And that's why you're holding the mind. And this whole process of whether bhakti or which is devotion or inquiry or any other path is basically to warm you up so that you can let go of holding, so that you understand that it's okay to be free, that you don't need these dense and heavy and stuck structures, that you don't need these protection defensive mechanisms, that you will survive without the ego, that you will live without the mind, so to speak, that you will still be here when you will be enlightened. So that's why many people invented many different traditions and paths of essentially a simple thing of letting go of the mind, letting go of that which you hold. The only thing that you don't hold and which is holding you is awareness. Yeah, your mind cannot hold awareness. The awareness is holding your mind, but that is freedom. The awareness is already holding all of it, as in other words, consciousness is holding all of it. It is all of it. So the only thing that you can't hold is the awareness itself. It's your own self, true self. Yeah, so let's recognize that you are holding the structures. And you can ask yourself a question without defensiveness. Who am I? Without thinking, who am I? Without understanding, who am I? Am I still here without understanding? Oh, of course, yes. Are you still aware without understanding? Of course you are. So it's a good practice to ask a question without something, who am I? And as a backup, it's good to know that you're always aware. You're always aware. Because if you're not familiar with the source awareness, then your mind may go to anxiety mode. You know, it will flip into something that it doesn't know, and then it will feel insecure. So therefore, two things are necessary. One is to decondition the mind, to let go of holding. But the second one is even more so important, is to know who you are, who you truly are. And this who you truly are is, don't imagine anything. Yes, don't imagine God and angels and fairies and I don't know, like don't imagine that it's something else. And don't imagine that it's absolute bliss and hallelujah and just holding hands and dancing in the circle or being in love all the time. Don't imagine that either. Yeah, so you don't need to imagine anything in terms of who you really are. Who you really are is very simple, natural here, which is being aware. Being aware or awareness itself. And that, if you will examine, is always present. It's always here. And for example, even if you're trying to understand now, you are aware of trying to understand now. If you are listening right now, you are aware that you're listening right now. The awareness is so immediately here that it's much quicker than any process. For example, listening or understanding. And even if your mind turns blank and you just say, I just stop following what this is about, you're aware of that too. You're just like, oh, I'm blank. I'm kind of lost somewhere. I don't know what's going on. You're aware of that too. So you see, whichever way your mind goes, whether into understanding or not understanding, like not knowing what this is all about, there is something that tells you that you don't know what this is all about. There is somehow you know that you don't know what this is all about. And what is that? how or what makes you to know that you know or you don't know. So that's where the mind expires, basically. Because the mind is a process. Understanding is a process. And even realization is a process. Realization is sort of getting it. But even that is a process. Because when you get it, then you keep it. But what is still alive, even if you really, really know what it is. Yeah, you say like, I know consciousness or I know God, but still, how do you know that? So you see that, yes, there's a certain seeing or awareness. So it's absolutely not separate from you. So therefore, we need to really simplify our end goal. Our end goal is to be aware as awareness, simply, openly, naturally, and to simply notice if something obscures it, like a certain mind mechanism. The awareness itself, which is here and obvious, is very simple, really. It's so simple that it's overlooked, usually. Yeah, so the mind really overlooks, so to speak, enlightenment. The mind really overlooks God, or it really overlooks awareness. It overlooks not necessarily that it doesn't want it, although that's, a lot of people are preferring, other materialist objectivity. They're not facing, spirituality or themselves. But generally, those who are on the path, so to speak, are seeking for this freedom or anything that is your goal. But if we look a little bit closer, you're still most likely overlooking this simple awareness. Because if you're really, really honest with yourself, most likely what you're really seeking for is happiness. Most likely what you're really seeking for is maybe freedom, or maybe love, or maybe some kind of um, divinity or idea of purity or idea of sattvic qualities, or you're really looking for maybe you were a kid or you were younger and you saw that maybe a movie about Buddha, or you saw some picture of a guru, or you saw you experienced maybe something blissful for a period of time, and what you're really looking for is that thing which you kind of put in your head or experienced before. And that's how you overlook the awareness itself. Because if you're very, very honest, you're looking for something else. And that would be something energetic, or a certain type of experience, or a certain type of quality. I really know that because, you know, that's 99.9% of what really people are seeking for. And if people would be really seeking for awareness, many would be already in awareness. They would realize that awareness is simply here. It's open, pure, untouchable, transparent, uncolorful, unnameable, unsoundable, but it's illuminating this experience. It's what's making this experience. And to go a bit deeper, it is experience. So we have to really come down to this self-honesty to really dig deep into our subconscious picture of what you're truly looking for. And then you may say, okay, I want that everything would be good. You know, and that if that's your honest searching, just stay for a moment with that. Yes, if your honest search is I experienced bliss before and there were not a single problem and I want that forever, just sit with that for a bit, that you had a certain experience and you want all other experiences to be like that, and somehow you know it's not possible. And then of course you get a bit disappointed, and then you say, okay, so what else is there to do? What's next? So self-honesty is very important in this inquiry. And this self-honesty will really put you into seeing a mental structure. It's a mental image. Or even more precisely, it's an imprint. Yeah, a mental imprint is like something got imprinted in your memory, perhaps with the image or picture or feeling, most likely, that you felt so much freedom, or you felt such a bliss, or you felt total peace, and it's an imprint in you, and subconsciously you're seeking for it again. So this is where this honesty and going deep, deep, deep and finding that yes, there is this imprint that I'm seeking for will allow you to illuminate that particular imprint. Because that imprint is actually, in reality, not serving you anymore. It was fine maybe before because it guided you into spirituality or into seeking for enlightenment or self-realization. So it inspired you, but now everybody, time to let it go. Because you're searching for a particular experience which is not the absolute reality, which is not your truest self. It's seeking for memory, for imprint, for particular experience, for a particular way. So that's why it's so hard to get it. So there's an imprint, a memory, and perhaps a meaning as well on top of it. And you kind of bundle it up, package it up, and it becomes, you can put it on your altar, and that's what you're seeking for. You know, that's what really happens. It becomes an object. It becomes a certain experience which you're looking for. And that is already an obstacle. Even it's probably it's so dear to your heart, like it's your total goal, it's your total devotion, it's your total wanting, it's your total, something, in you, or so close and dear to you that you don't want to let it go. And that is an obstacle already. And let's replace it with something better. Yeah? Something better is alive awareness, now, here, present, stable, always here, now, boundless, self-illuminated, absolute. And in this awareness, that's where real freedom is. It's not a feeling of I'm free in this moment until you objectively meet somebody else or something changes and happens. It's not a kind of physical freedom like in the hippie times, or traveling or climbing a mountain. Is not that kind of freedom. That was a temporary transitional freedom. The real freedom is awareness liberating into experience as all. If you don't understand, don't bother about it. But I'm trying to keep it simple, really. So what we're really looking for is awareness. And the good news is that it's here. And what is veiling it is a certain imprint, a certain fixation, a certain position, a certain holding in you, or a certain wanting in you. And I invite you to slow down and to connect with that. What is being held here? So you may relax and let it go, or stop holding it, release it. Or sometimes you will say that I can't. And that's okay too. Just notice that there is something held and that you can't for a moment, and that's okay too. You may say, I don't know what that is, and that's okay too. Or you may say, my mind is so real, or this experience is so real, as if, your mind or experience presents itself as if it's very real. So you can also use this little technique called as if, to simply inquire and tell yourself, my mind is so sticky, as if it's so real. You can use as if in any statement where you feel a problem, or where you have assumption. It's just a way to soften it up and to let go or release it, remembering that awareness is always present here. And what appears, it is real as if. It's a way of not of denying what's happening, but it's a way of softening your assumption that this particular feeling or experience is the only reality, or that you can't do anything about it. So you can make a statement to yourself and say as if. I say, I feel so stuck, as if it's real. Meditation is needed for you to relax to balance your mind and energy so that you come into this more open space in which you can inquire into the truth. So that is the purpose of meditation. So that you feel more relaxed, more peaceful, and that the mind, the energy is more harmonious, where you have more openness to inquire into awareness. And in that place, you can ask, am I aware? That's a yes. And you can stay in this simple awareness. There is nothing complicated to do about it. It's always present. And then the mind comes up. It kind of grabs your attention. It veils the awareness, so you feel a certain sense of separateness, which is, of course, uncomfortable. And then you're searching for a way to come back and feel comfortable again in that openness of awareness. But when the mind comes in and presents itself, you can always ask as if it seems so real, or it seems that this sadness or fear or anxiety is me or mine, as if it's real. Because in reality, none of the emotions are yours. They're just passing by. Well, nothing really is yours. What is truly yours is your awareness in this present moment. But all these assumptions and that the sadness is mine, or anger is mine, or this pain is mine, or the idea that I know everything is mine. The idea that I have done this before, it's mine. That I know it, I've done it. Any assumptions, any suppositions, all of that is transitory. What is truly permanent is awareness and the changing experience, the ever-changing present moment in awareness. And these two are not separate. But first I want you to stabilize in awareness. So for those now who are more stable in awareness, you also need to recognize that anything that you feel is not separate from awareness. That every feeling, emotion, and thought is not separate from awareness. Just like when you are watching a movie on a screen, it's not separate from the screen. It's on the screen, it's in the screen. That's how you can see the movie. So all, for those at a higher level, so all thoughts, emotions, feelings, energies are not separate from awareness. It should be obvious. And that's where that little distance can collapse. That thin layer can collapse. When you recognize that this feeling, this energy here is not separate from awareness. And nothing is separate from awareness. And that's how you remove that thin layer, that distance. You might hold it because of a little protection that I don't want to be fully in experience. And that's where the non-duality or the subject-object can collapse into one. And the way to collapse this little distance or a little separation or little tension somewhere is to allow it fully, to recognize it's not separate from awareness, and to also check why you are holding it. What benefit does it give you? Whether because you were seeking for something, even if it's sattvic and pure and beautiful, or if you were avoiding something, just to have that little bit of protection or a little bit of space from something, or a little bit afraid to be lost in experience and in awareness. But you will not get lost in awareness or experience. It was actually making you feel stressed or a bit tensed or uncomfortable. Like just something was bugging you. And the way is to meet that little bug, so to speak, or that place within where that little bit of distance is held. The reason also might be that you may think that if I lose that final bit, who am I or what is left? I can lose everything but that one bit. It's okay, I can let go of my ego, I can let go of this and this and this, but this one last final bit, I don't want to lose it. And that's exactly where it might be. In a path of devotion, it might be, I've given God all my heart, my soul, my body, but this I want to keep. Or I can't let go of that. But you will realize that what you will give up is the last bit of pain and suffering. And you will step into the boundless freedom, oneness of all, and the glory of I am that, or simplicity and humbleness of simple being, being aware, whichever is the case. So let's take now a few moments to relax and just to be in silence just for a bit, to allow everything to sink in and to process. And you can continue also inquire into awareness. I gently invite you to come back from meditation. You can relax, let go. You can also notice as you're coming back. It's a very important time to notice what comes back, to notice what is your comfort zone, and to notice if any story comes back. To bring that into awareness too. So coming back from meditation is also a very special time. It is actually equally special as going into meditation and being in meditation. Because as you're coming back, you have an opportunity to honestly see what returns, what comes back to you. And then you can peacefully and gently acknowledge that this is what comes back when I return from meditation. Just to acknowledge it in awareness. And sometimes you don't have to do anything more about it. And sometimes it can really help to strengthen awareness, the clarity. When it comes to clarity and certainty, there are two things that we can be really certain about. And that is that this experience is happening now the way it is, and that you are aware of that. You're aware of this experience. This experience is happening like this. Of these two things, you can be very certain of. However, when it comes to me, myself, my story, my body, and the world, or what you call reality, or my life, you can't be very certain of that, but you assume as if they are so real, and you will say, of course they're real. I'm real. My life is real. World is real. Yeah, that's where the mind assumes, and you will recognize that in reality there is only this moment experience. Everything else is assumption, memory, imagination, projection, a wish, a desire, avoiding or seeking. Everything else is our mechanisms of the mind. And therefore, they are assumed to be real. They are experienced as if they are real. They are experienced as if they are real. For example, your life. What do you mean by your life? What is your life? Your life is here now, present moment. Breathe in this air. Or assumption of the world. What is the world? How do you know there is a world? You only know this moment, truly, really, undoubtfully. Otherwise, you need to recall your memory. Oh, what do I know about the world? Or how it should be, or what it is. These are all mental ideas. And I really want you just to listen deeply, because I'm saying something a lot deeper. And believe me, I know what you know. I know that you know that your body is here. I know that there is a world, and I know there is a life, but I know that too. Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you something deeper. How do you know that? How do you know that? And you will say, I know. And what is that? What is knowing? It's holding. Knowing is holding. Yes, so that's one. And then you say, I know. And how do you know? So knowing is holding. And then how do you know that you know is because you are aware of holding the knowledge. So you're aware of holding knowledge, knowing. And if you relax that knowing, then we stop arguing immediately. It's a joke. So when you relax your knowing, there's nothing to argue about anymore. And what you're left with is knowing, your fixation of knowing. And ultimately, when you relax the fixation of knowing, there is only pure awareness and this moment openly as it is. And of that, you can be absolutely certain of that there is pure awareness, aware of this moment openly as it is. And that's it, period. Everything else is it's but, it's if, it's I know, or it should be, or I'm very sure of it, or I have no clue about it. All of these are functions of the mind. And if you really, really, really listen to this, it's a highway to freedom. It's a highway to undoubtful certainty of reality, of absolute reality. And then you have to really brush off all your assumptions, all your wishes, desires, ideas, what you know, what you don't know, what you want, what you don't want, what you seek, what you avoid. You need to brush it all up, all up, all out. Because all of these ideas are subject to argument, are subject to belief, are subject to uncertainty upon a closer look. And finally, you will find that they have no validity in reality, that you can really verify absolutely as absolute reality, as a stable and doubtful reality. So you can have a certainty that you're aware and this present moment is here like this, like exactly like this, all of it, exactly like this, all of it. You don't need to think about it, it's here already. As soon as you start to think about it, you are diverting into a river, into what you know. You don't need to think about that this moment is here, that this experience is here, that apparently there is a parent body sitting here, a parent talking happening, a parent seeing happening, a parent breathing is happening, a parent light is up, a parent room is present. Apparently it's all like this, like this, it's happening here now. But as soon as you start thinking about it, it contracts into what you know. And you lose that openness. That's why absolute is absolute. It's open and certain and clear. And when you start thinking, it gets complicated. And this openness, simplicity, awareness is simple. It's so simple that you don't need to think about it. You don't even need to understand it. Unless your mind is holding you and it's saying, I have to understand what I'm doing. Well, then train yourself, prepare yourself, learn about it until you will be able to be open without the need of training anymore, without the need of understanding anymore. So this is my invitation home, here, now, aware. And this home is simple. And you don't need to do anything about it. You are already in it. You are that. and relaxing the holding, releasing the holding. That's only what you need to do with some help. So this is the invitation home. Okay, we have about 10 minutes or so for any questions, or if you would like to share and ask, feel free, because this is your time now. So you can simply unmute. Oh, Gregory.
Swamiji, that's the most profound talk I have ever heard. Exquisite, deep, so well structured. Move this to the top of the queue. It's absolutely great. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Renata.
I also want to say it's very much if you cannot get after this satsang, it's I don't know where you are then. Yes, very very nice, and I've particularly been listening to that part where you said this, where you want to keep this last thing, you want to still keep it. So experience that. And I managed to actually break through it, and I have like headache now for 3 days, releasing that structure. It feels good. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Roletta, as well.
Hi, Mindo.
Hello, hello.
This was quite something. The more you spoke, the more I paid attention, and I felt like I really let go, and something was showing me. I was seeing my third eye really opening and booming, and it's like, as you were explaining, like one after the other. You're not this, you're not that. So that's the explanation, that's the expectation, like, thought after thought just being put away. And you read, like, you can't explain it with words. There's this openness I have coming through, like, from behind my body, through my chest, and out the other side. And this almost like there was some space created. Really.
Yes, yes. You are that space
Something.
beyond anything you know. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, if you have survived this satsang, you will survive in awareness forever. Thank you, everybody. all the practices are kind of to warm up to this, isn't it? And sometimes it is necessary to do all the preparatory works because the mind can be very rigid and a lot of structures may reside, so it might be hard to penetrate into awareness itself. But regardless of wherever one is, knowing this is a guiding principle, it's a guiding truth, it's a living truth, it is this moment truth. And therefore it will always serve you as a backup to any practice that you will do, to any path that you will take.